Good morning. How are we? Or good afternoon. It's morning where I'm at. Might not be morning where you're at. Might be afternoon, might be evening. Lucy's way on the other side of the room, which I was hoping she'd be chilling here. Because we got, what's up, Jesus? What's up, Karen? What's up, Anna? Howdy, Anthony. What's up, Sunvio? What's up, Brian? Good to see everybody. What's up, Andrew? What's up, Kalida? Good to see everyone. We actually have a cat story today, and Lucy is chilling way on the other side of the room. I don't know why. Trying to be fine. What's going on? What's up, Matthew? I hope everyone is spectacular. What's up, Mooskow? Lucy's over there. I hope she wanders over here because we have a story pertaining to cats, and it'd be cool to have her assistance. It'd be cool to have her input. You know. Mary, what's going on? Paul B. Ron, you look just like the cop that arrested me. There's cops out there that look like this? Are you serious? And they still let them be cops, huh? That's interesting. Ron, did you get married? No, I did not. I did not. Sorry you got arrested, Paul. What's up, Poopy Cakes? What's up, Matt? What's up, Jennifer? Do a dog story. I will. There's just got to be one. Guys, we are going to begin. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer curated streaming news show. Thank you guys for tweeting me a bunch of cool stories today and for dropping it in our Reddit subsection. We're going to start with a little bit of a follow-up, which will begin with the song of the day. Song of the day, There's Power in a Union. And as far as the artist goes, pick one. There's power in a union. You could listen to Utah Phillips' rendition of that song. You could listen to Billy Bragg. You could listen to Joe Pug. You could listen to the Street Dogs if you want a punk version of the song. It's an old Wobbles hymn. There is power in a union. It's a union song. Obviously, that's what it's all about. And it's a great tune. Why am I bringing it up? Well, because it looks like we got some union news. Unions, in this case, do what they're supposed to do. Tim shared this with us. So we covered the Bernie Sanders issue with the Bernie Sanders campaign, where they had a contract where it worked out that everyone was getting the equivalent of $15 an hour, actually $17 an hour. And then it turns out they had to work more, so they had to renegotiate. And so the union and the higher up started talking about an agreement, which is exactly what a union's supposed to do. And during that negotiating time, they said, hey, make sure you're not working too much so that you're not getting less than $15 an hour. That's total standard procedures that is looking out for everybody involved, the campaign, the workers, and everyone. The media took this and spun it and started spreading all this misinformation around it. We addressed that yesterday. Well, guess what? Turns out the union is just doing what unions are supposed to do, and they reached an agreement. Boom. This is from CNN. Bernie Sanders says campaign has reached an agreement with staffers for higher pay. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Senator Bernie Sanders said Tuesday, that's today, as of the recording of this, that his campaign has reached a deal with its unionized staffers to increase their pay, and this is following the negotiation. So here's what Sanders had to say about it. I was insisted that everyone on our staff make at least $15 an hour, and in fact, they're making $17 an hour. The offer that we made to the union several months ago would have accomplished that, and I'm happy to tell you, by the way, that offer was just accepted. We made an offer that would have addressed that problem several months ago. It was rejected, so we underwent negotiations. It's now the offer. It has now been accepted. So here's what Jonathan Williams, a spokesman for the union, has to say. Both the campaign staff and management have engaged in this process in good faith and to achieve a mutually agreed upon outcome. This is what democracy in the workplace looks like. Who added he would like to see other campaigns and every employer in this country rise to the standard that we have achieved. This is getting back to his quote, where the rights of every worker are respected and every voice is heard through a democratic process. Boom. So the union did what they're supposed to do. The higher ups did what they were supposed to do. They worked it out. They came to an agreement. That's what a union's for. That's what a union does. In the Sanders campaign, guess what? They just reached an agreement. Nobody got fired. There was no anger. There were no rifts. There were no splits. It's like, hey, here's what we got to work through. Let's work through it. And it's a campaign. It is a very fast-moving entity. Campaigns are crazy. You're usually having to put in a bunch of extra hours. You're usually having to work overtime, especially if you're working for a campaign that's not only going up against all the other candidates, but it's going up against the establishment and the media too, which is what the Sanders campaign has to do. So an agreement was reached because unions work, and that's what they're supposed to do. And, you know, the spokesperson there expressed their wish that other campaigns follow suit and do what Bernie Sanders is doing and give living wages and give good benefits. And I wonder if they're doing that. Are other campaigns doing what the Sanders campaign is doing, giving living wages, treating people well, giving great benefits? Well, let's see. Warren Biden campaigns appear to find a loophole around paid internships. Let's just take a step back here for a second. So while the media was talking about how the Sanders campaign had to renegotiate a contract, which is what a union's for, and they're trying to spin that to smear the Sanders campaign, saying they're not paying living wages, which wasn't true. Well, they're focusing on that. Other campaigns, the Warren campaign and the Biden campaign in particular, are finding ways around paying their interns. So while the Sanders campaign is just simply renegotiating something to make sure everyone gets the wage that they were guaranteed in the first place because people are having to work more, these other campaigns are trying to find a way around paying people entirely. And we're not hearing much about that. To their credit, this is actually coming from the Daily Beast. To the Daily Beast credit, I'm surprised an article like this is in the Daily Beast, but to their credit, it is. So let's go to it. The Warren and Biden campaigns appear to find a loophole around paid internships. The difference between a, quote, fellowship and an internship in the Warren and Biden campaigns appears to be pay. So here's what's going on here in the article. Unpaid interns are practically non-existent among Democratic presidential campaigns in 2019, but some top-tier candidates appear to be finding a creative way to tap unpaid talent, offering vague, quote, fellowship opportunities as volunteer positions. There's no singular definition for a fellow among 2020 candidates, and most this cycle don't offer the option. But two leading contenders, former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren, give applicants who are selected a chance to participate in the campaign as volunteer fellows without requiring compensation or academic credit. They're not even getting, so they're getting nothing in this case except for the joy of working for Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren. Isn't that reward enough in and of itself? If you work for Joe Biden, you might get an ice cream day. Maybe he'll sniff your hair. If you work for Elizabeth Warren, she'll say nice things when the cameras are on, and you can watch it. Isn't that reward all in itself? What more do you need? Of course, credit, pay, come on. What do you want next? A unicorn? You want instant abs? All right, let's go back to this. So they're not paying people. For Biden's campaign, the Team Joe Organizing Fellowship consists of an 8-week program that includes weekly online trainings in grassroots and digital organizing, according to the listing, which closed this week. Unlike the internship program, which is paid $15 per hour, the fellowship program makes no mention of wages, academic credit, or time commitment. And if you ask about any of those things, you're just led to another website that says, give me a break. And it's a picture of Joe Biden just going like that. Like, give me a break. Pay? Course, no, you're a fellow. You're a fellow. What does the 8-week training for a Biden fellowship look like? Like, okay, so when he says something stupid, this is what we do. When he doesn't say something stupid, we haven't crossed that bridge yet. We don't know how we handle that situation when he actually says something that we want to spread. We don't know what that's like yet. But when that happens, we're going to try to come up with a plan for it. We don't know what to do yet. But if he says something that we actually want to share, we're used to when he says shit, trying to stifle it and stop it from spreading as quickly as we can. That's the only thing we know. And for 8 weeks, we're going to go over this. This is what you do when he says something subtly racist. This is what you do when they bring up something racist from his past. This is what you do when he gives a really shitty apology. This is what you do when another thing surfaces of him being creepy with young girls. This is what you do when he gets his ass handed to him in a debate. This is what you do. The list goes on and on. If we ever do any of our own polling, here are the landlines you're supposed to call. That's how I imagine a Biden fellowship looks like. All right, so getting back to this article here, Warren's campaign features one joint application with 3 options: paid internship, volunteer fellowship, or volunteer fellowship for academic credit. Applicants are allowed to select more than one when applying. Warren's Deputy Communications Director, Chris Hayden, told the Daily Beast their internship program offers a limited number of paid full-time campaign experiences on a competitive basis, and that interns commit to working 30 hours a week and have access to paid health insurance in addition to their weekly salary. The campaign also offers a volunteer fellowship program, which provides similar training and work experience with a smaller time commitment. Many of our campaign fellows receive stipends from educational institutions or other third parties, and everyone in our intern and fellowship programs has access to cost-free supporter housing while they're working in state. In other words, we're doing what we can to not pay people, but sometimes other institutions kind of step in, kind of like how Walmart relies on a community to take care of employees because they don't give them living wages. It's kind of like that. Wow. So that's what the Warren and Biden campaigns are doing. That's what they're doing. Gotta love it. And let's go over to see what Trump's doing now. What's going on? What's going on in Trump land? What's something that's going on in the contemporary landscape? Let's go to non-election news. Here's something. Trump administration proposes to end food stamps for 3 million people. The Trump administration proposed new rules to limit access to food stamps on Tuesday, a move that officials said would end benefits for about 3.1 million people. And what they're doing to accomplish this, they're closing a loophole that allows states to automatically enroll residents already receiving other welfare benefits. Here's what Sonny Perdue, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, said. This proposal will save money and preserve the integrity of the program. SNAP should be a temporary safety net. So let's go through a list of some of the stuff this administration has tried to do. So they're trying to cut funding for public broadcasting. That's one of the things they've done. Now they're trying to do this. They're trying to cut even more food stamp recipients. They tried to unroll that thing where if you are a graduate student, your tuition remission is taxed as income. Which would have made grad students pay an exorbitant amount more in taxes. Probably they would have to pay almost more in taxes than what they're making. Because what it would do is when you're a graduate student, a lot of times you get an assistantship package. What that includes is tuition remission, and then it gives you a living stipend, which is usually exactly that. It's just enough money for you to survive on. And that's what you get each month. That's what I got when I was in grad school. What the Trump administration tried to do is they tried to tax that tuition remission as income. So just pulling some figures out here for the sake of math, if you were given a living stipend of $1,000 a month, for instance, you're at the Andrew Yang Academy, you're getting $1,000 a month. So you get $1,000 a month, and then you get tuition remission. And let's say tuition was $20,000 a year. You're now taxed at, well, you would probably get that $1,000 a month for 9 months. So you're probably getting $9,000 a year, right? For the sake of example, instead of getting taxed on $9,000 a year, you get taxed on $29,000 a year. So it's as if your income, you get the idea. They try to do that. They try to do all these nickel and diming things to screw over poor people even harder. Meanwhile, here's a friendly reminder. That tax break he gave to the 1%, that tax break costs more money than it would cost to forgive all student loan debt. It would be cheaper for the federal government to just forgive all student loan debt than it would be for that tax cut that the Trump administration passed. So who's really getting the welfare here? Who's really getting? There's corporate welfare. That's what this government's all about, corporate welfare. Welfare for the 1%. And the rest of us, we're on our own. They want to give as little as possible to the most needy in society, to the point where they're trying to nitpick who gets food stamps now. They're trying to cut back on food stamps. And let's go to the article, see how much they're saying this would save, quote unquote. So the newest change will result in an annual budgetary savings of $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion. But they're fine with the tax cut for the 1% that costs trillions. They really want to save $2.5 billion there. Tax cut that costs trillions, no big deal. A healthcare system where we pay more and get less, and it costs way more of our GDP. Whatever. War money, don't mess with the war budget. Don't mess with the war budget. We'll give billions more just in bonus money there. That little savings on not giving people food, trying to make sure poor people don't eat, that's nothing compared to just bonus bomb money that Democrats and Republicans alike throw at Donald Trump. So there we go. That's a government working for the people, huh? Sure is. All right. So we started down the path of living wages. We're going to continue on it here. Because Rashida Tlaib has been outspoken about the minimum wage. So Rashida Tlaib, minimum wage should be $20 an hour, not $15. So before we get into this, something important to keep in mind. The fight for 15 is the biggest, movement for living wages that's out there. Keep in mind, the fight for 15 has been going on for a while. They've been around a minute. So when they first said fight for 15, they meant 15 at the time and immediately. Not, hey, $15 an hour would be nice in 2025. I mean, at this point, fight for 15 is more emblematic than anything else. And it's emblematic of, or symbolic rather, of living wages. It's symbolic of living wages. Because now we're at the point where 15 is not quite enough to live on. Not only that, but the way the House proposed it, which is probably not going to pass the Senate anyway, but the way the House proposed it and it passed the House, it unrolls slowly, and people aren't getting $15 an hour until 2025, which at that point, it's going to have to be higher anyway. So anyway, I'm just, that's just important to keep in mind. All right, so what's she's saying here in the article? Rashida Tlaib of Michigan called for a minimum wage of $18 to $20 an hour Sunday, an increase over the $15 minimum wage bill passed by the House lawmakers Thursday. Tlaib spoke at an event in Detroit supporting One Fair Wage, an organization that lobbies for restaurant workers to be paid the federal minimum wage for non-tipped workers, according to a local Fox affiliate. She criticized the federal mandated minimum wage for tipped employees, which is $2.13 per hour. Think about that for 1 minute. People cannot live on those kind of wages, she said. We cannot allow people to be living off of tips and relying on tipped wages. Tlaib added that the $15 minimum wage should be adjusted. She also called out American Rising, a Republican political action committee that was at the event. By the way, when we started it, it should have been 15. Now I think it should be 20. Make sure that American Rising hears that. It should be $20 an hour, $18 to $20 an hour at this point. If wages would have kept up with inflation, we would be at about $22 an hour. And that was from a study from several years ago. We'd be at about $22 an hour now if wages kept up with inflation. Of course, it didn't. The minimum wage has been stagnant for about a decade now. It is $7.25 an hour. And, I love when people, parrot the right-wing talking points against living wages. Well, if you raise it to 15, what's to stop it? It'll be 20 soon, then it'll be 25, then it'll be 30. And when's it going to stop? How high is it going to be? When's it going to stop? Do you have this same concern about CEOs' salaries? It's 475 to 1 now. When's it going to stop? Jeff Bezos is worth billions of dollars. There are billionaires in the world. When's it going to stop? How is it you have the bandwidth to be concerned about the wages of workers, yet CEO salary, no big deal? Aren't you worried about ceilings there? The minimum wage should be a wage that a person can live on. Period. End of discussion. End of story. And she's addressing the fact, and what passed the House was very incremental, and it's not going to pass the Senate anyway. So what should have happened is that there should have been an opportunity to really go for the jugular, so to speak, and say, have a bill out there that was actual living wages. Because you know what it does have support of? People. The people want living wages. People don't want to work 2 and 3 jobs to live. And guess what? A living wage, you are providing the labor. When you are a worker, you are providing the labor, and I'm using labor in the broad sense here. You are providing the labor necessary for this company to function. The employer needs you. You are needed. So if you're not paid a living wage and you go on strike, they are hurting. And if they try to get someone else and that person demands a living wage too, they are still hurting and they have to give a living wage. That's the way it works. And guess what? Our country can afford it. Why? Because the CEO makes 475 times that of the average worker. That's why. And you can look at graph after graph and study after study of how wages for workers have gone like this, while wages for CEOs have gone like this. And it is to an unprecedented degree. It's to a degree that nobody could have ever predicted. And when you look at these, you can even read Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, a book that a lot of conservatives point to as their kind of go-to. Even in that book, Adam Smith never called for anything like that to happen. He never called for wages between CEOs and workers to get to this point. He was actually against it. He actually called for living wages. So she's right. In short, Rashida Tlaib's right. It should be at least $22 an hour now. And we're having trouble with any kind of legislation whatsoever. But at least she's making some noise about it, and someone in office is making noise about it. All right, so we have a cat story. We're going to end a little early today because I have an interview at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time and 2:30 p.m. Eastern time and 1:30 p.m. Central time. And I'll throw Central in there because my guest is out of Chicago. I'm going to be interviewing Chuck Mertz from the radio show / podcast This Is Hell. That's a syndicated talk show out of Chicago. It's been around for a very, very long time, since 1998. They've had guests including Noam Chomsky, Glenn Greenwald, Juan Cole. Long list of guests, long list of thinkers. They interview activists, academics, and other folks about the political sphere going on. So we're going to be talking to the host, Chuck Mertz, shortly today, later today. So that's happening. All right. So that's what's going on in the living wage world. Here is some good news for our last story of the day. Here's a little bit of good news. And it's a cat story. Lucy, do you want to come over here? Lucy, she perked up when I said her name. Lucy, come here. Come here. Come here. I don't have a treat or anything. She might not actually do it. Come here. Lucy. Lucy, look. She's not impressed. She's not. She's like, that's a pen. I know that's a pen. I'm not falling for it. What do you think this is? Look. She's over there. She can't. All right. I don't know if she's, man, I was really hoping, a lot of times during the stream, she kind of chills. She kind of sits here and we hang. You guys know that. Today, she cannot be bothered. She's over on her cat tree. She's kind of lounging. She's just chilling, which is okay. Sometimes wait, she's moving. But there's a cat story today. So of all days, I was really hoping she's walking. She is walking. Lucy, huh? Lucy. You're seriously going to stop right there. So she got up and she walked over here, and then and you can't see this because the camera's in front of me, but my computer's on the desk here. She stopped right at the edge of the desk before the camera starts. She actually just did that. Lucy. Yes. Come on, jump up. You have to do it out of your own free will. I want this to be an organic experience. Hop up, Lucy. Hop up, and we're going to talk about a cat story. All right, I'll pet her a little bit to try to encourage her to jump up. Come on, Lucy. All right, let's go to the article. New York becomes the first state to ban cat declawing. New York became the first U.S. state to ban the declawing of cats on Monday after Governor Cuomo signed the legislation into law. The state joins most of Europe, several Canadian provinces, and cities across the country, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Denver, in banning the procedure. So I'll be honest with you, I never knew that that Los Angeles had a ban on cat declawing. I actually didn't know Los Angeles had that. We talked about when New York City banned cat declawing. And I guess for me, it's something I would never do. So I guess it's like it doesn't, like, it wouldn't really make a difference in my life one way or another. I mean, Lucy's not declawed. And, any other, I would never declaw a cat. This is a good thing because I think that over the years, I think a lot of times when people would declaw their animals in the past, come on up there. All right. So I broke down. I picked her up. She kind of made it out. She made it clear she wanted to come up here. So, all right, now she's here. I think that a lot of times when people declawed animals in the past, it was, honestly, because I don't think they knew any better. I think they didn't know just how brutal it was for an animal and how painful it was for an animal, because it's one of those things. If your vet offers it, you might think, okay, I guess it's okay. I guess it's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal, and it's incredibly painful for an animal, and it's completely unnecessary. It's unnatural, and it puts them, especially if you let your cat outdoors, I mean, it puts them at a huge disadvantage. It puts them like they're not supposed to not have their claws in that situation. So, I mean, if you let your cat outdoors and they don't have all their claws, like that's not cool, and it's not okay. And I think as the years have gone by, a certain awareness has been raised. And maybe some of this is also like I'm growing up too. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't really cognizant of, what declawing was or how dangerous it was or wasn't. I was just a kid. whatever. But I think that, and feel free, to correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I think that 10, 20 years ago, there wasn't as much of a common awareness of what declawing actually did to an animal. I think people just kind of thought it was a harmless thing where they were put under. It didn't really hurt. It didn't really, but no, it's a very significant thing, and it's a very not okay thing to do. So I'm glad to see it banned in states. And are you happy too? How do you feel? I mean, you should express. Don't express apathy, Lucy. She almost looked indifferent there. She's like, "Well, I got my claws, and I don't need to worry. My owner's not going to." Well, what about your fellow comrades? Don't you want to see them not be clawed? Right? Right? So, lost my train of thought. Just got lost petting the cat. But to anyone out there who maybe you're thinking, well, gee, what if that's the only way somebody can have a pet? What's the scenario where that's the case? What's the scenario where the only way you can have a cat is if that cat is declawed? Like we have some really nice furniture. Okay, so cover the furniture. Or close off that part of the house. She just bailed. She's like, I'm not declawed. I don't have to worry about this. So it's a little selfish of you, Lucy. I'm a little sad. Makes me a little sad. She's looking at me. She's looking at me like she did do something wrong. I thought you'd chill for this segment. We're talking about cats, and this is important. I think she wants to play. We'll play shortly. I have an interview after this. So there's going to be more streaming time today. She's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about your interview. I want to treat. I want to play. So anyway, yeah, where is that the case? Where is it the case that you would need to declaw an animal to have one? I mean, if you have furniture that's that nice that you don't want an animal on it, just cover up the furniture or close off that part of your place. Or, yeah, I mean, there's something you can do to make sure your cat doesn't go on it. There's plenty of options out there. And if you have furniture that nice, I'm assuming you can afford one of those things without declawing your animal. And me personally, there's nothing I own that I like. Her hair doesn't bother me. If she scratches something, it doesn't bother me that much. Because to me, that's just a freaking couch or a chair, and I don't really give a fuck. Honestly, I don't give a fuck. That's all I have to say about it. I just don't really. I mean, she's a living creature that has enriched my life a lot. She has brought me a lot of joy. She has been there for me when I've been sad. We have a special bond that humans can have with their pets. To me, that is infinitely more valuable 1,000,000 times over than a fucking piece of furniture. And I feel like that's a no-brainer. So, if you're thinking about owning a pet and you feel like you have to declaw them and you really feel like it's that big of a thing that there's no other way around it, I think you have to ask yourself, do you really want that pet? Knowing what we know now, again, I think 10, 20 years ago, I don't think people realized the magnitude of it. And I think there was a number of reasons for that. And I think it was just because you sort of passively, there, she's back. She gets it. She knows. She knows. She's like, you're right. This is important. I got to look out for my comrades. I got to look out for my comrades. Thank you, Lucy. We knew that Lucy cared. She was just putting on a tough front. She was like, I have some contractual disputes. I'm not going to be here for the declawing segment. But then she's like, you know what? No, you're right, Ron. We got to speak truth for my comrades. Don't declaw. And I'm glad New York State passed it because I hope that means other states are going to pass it too. Because again, I don't think, and look, if you're saying, gee, when, my grandmother or my parent, they declawed their animal all these years ago. Yeah, I honestly don't think the general public was as aware of what it. I truly don't think so. So I think a lot of people, they didn't declaw their pets because they were cruel. They declawed their pets because they honestly didn't know any better. But now we know a lot more. And now it's being banned in places and it's being talked about more. And we know what it really does. And I think part of the reason is because vets finally decided, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. This is cruelty to an animal. We're not doing this anymore. I think that probably started it. So knowing what we know now, and that's why I'm saying if you're thinking about getting a pet and you're saying declawing is non-negotiable, well, knowing what we know now, do you really want a pet that bad? If you can't get around declawing in your mind, knowing what we know now about declawing. If this was 20 years ago, well, that might be a little different because I honestly think the general public knew less then. I really think that's the case. And maybe I was just a child. I don't know. Well, I mean, I was a child, but I'm just saying maybe I wasn't aware because I was a child. But I honestly think, but knowing what we know now, there's no need to declaw your cat. There's just no need for it. And if you have, if you feel that attached to inanimate things in your house, you should be able to find it. I mean, there's certain sprays you can get that will deter them, that are safe for them, but will deter them. There's plenty of things you can do. Declawing does not need to be your option. It just doesn't. Anne-Marie Cunningham, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. People should read A History of America in 10 Strikes. Ooh, by Eric Loomis. That is a cool sounding book. A History of America in 10 Strikes by Eric Loomis. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, Anne-Marie Cunningham. Also, Anne-Marie, very appropriate photo. Your handle photo is a handle photo of a cat, which is very appropriate for today. George Allen, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Please tell Lucy I have 9 cats. Lucy, George has 9 cats. You would not. You know what, George? Lucy would be mean to all 9 of them. No, I'm just kidding. No, she doesn't like. She eventually she used to live with another cat for a while, and eventually they got along, but it took a while. And she's lived with dogs before. That did not go well. When I was in between apartments, I was staying with some family friends in their guest room while I was shopping for a new apartment. And this dog, this adorable dog, golden retriever, beautiful dog, sweetest dog, wanted Lucy. I just said Jimmy. Some of you guys are mentioning the Jimmy Dore show in the chat, and I just saw it as I'm talking about this. This dog wanted to play with Lucy so bad. All this dog wanted was Lucy's attention, and Lucy just hated this dog. Just hated the dog. She was so mean to this poor dog. I felt, and it wasn't necessarily her fault. I mean, she was scared. She was scared of the dog. The dog wanted to play. She didn't know that. She thought that the dog was trying to hurt her. So you get it. You get it. All right. So let's see. What are you guys saying? Chris says furniture is for sitting and placing things on. Fancy furniture is a stupid waste of money. Pets are way better. I completely agree. I agree with that 110%. I don't own fancy furniture. So yeah. And I don't plan on it. Why? Because I like having pets. It's part of the reason I like having pets. So I don't care about fancy furniture. And if you're one of those people where you're like, hey, man, well, I like to have guests over. I like to entertain company. You know who is the life of the party every time I have company? This gal right here. This gal. I just realized if you can't see Lucy because of my lower third, it looks like I totally just did something different right there. You know what the life of the party is? I'm pointing to my cat. My cat Lucy. My cat Lucy is the life of every party, every gathering I've ever had. Because she likes people a lot, so she likes to socialize, and everybody loves to hang out with her. No one's ever been like, these couches aren't that nice. That's never happened. I've never entertained company, and they're like, well, I wish the furniture was different. You know what has happened all the time? Lucy, where's Lucy? We want Lucy. That's what happens all the time. So there you go. All right. Thank you guys very much. Thank you to Anne-Marie Cunningham and George Allen for your super chat contributions. I'll get a few more chats in here, and then we're going to sign off because I got to get ready for our interview. The interview again, 2:30 Eastern time, 11:30 Pacific time. I'm going to be interviewing Chuck Moritz from the radio show / podcast This Is Hell. That's a syndicated show that's been around since 1998. It deals with politics and stuff that's going on in the world. They have activists, academics. They've had Chomsky. They've had Glenn Greenwald. They've had Juan Cole. Long list of who's who. Greg Palast has done that show. It's a very storied show. We're going to be talking to Chuck, getting his take on things. That's going to be a fun interview. Make sure you tune in for it. In the meantime, I'll hit a few chats here before we sign out. Ron, what was your major in graduate school? I studied communication, and I got an MA in communication. I thought about going on for my PhD, but I decided against it. Let's see. Chris Wynn, you've never met my family. They love talking about their fancy furniture and houses. Well, what are you going to do? Not me. I prefer cats. Doug says that would be company you don't invite back. I think that's a callback to me saying no one's ever complained about furniture whenever I've had people over, and I agree. If anyone ever did, yeah, that's something you don't invite them back. Yeah. And Karen also brings up a good thing. What would life be like without them? Yeah, exactly. And Jennifer, another great point. Get a scratching post if you don't want stuff scratched. Yeah, exactly. Lucy has a cat tree. It has a scratching post on it, and she uses that. So, yeah, I'm glad New York has outlawed declawing. I hope other states follow suit. And to anyone out there who's thinking, well, I would need to declaw my cat because of da-da-da. No, you don't need to declaw your cat. There's tons of other solutions for whatever you don't want scratched. It's cruelty to the animal, and we know that now. Right, Lucy? She's giving me a paw. She's like, yeah, hold that paw that has all of its claws on it. All right, guys, tour dates, I got them. July 27th, that's this coming Saturday, Vegas, baby. This Thursday, by the way, for all you LA folks, Ron Placone and Friends is happening at Flappers Comedy Club. If you're in the LA area, drop me an email. Go to ronplacone.com and email me there. Tell me you went on the guest list and you heard it on Get Your News On with Ron, and I will put you on the guest list for this Thursday's show. That's 7:30 p.m. at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. This Saturday, July 27th, Graham Elwood and I are going to be in Vegas for the Progressive Comedy Tour. Don't wait. Get your tickets now, ronplacone.com. September, we're coming to the Northern Plains. September 4th, we're going to be in Omaha, Nebraska. September 5th, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. September 6th, Madison, Wisconsin. September 7th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. September 8th, Iowa City, Iowa. Oh, in Australia, we're coming in November. We almost have all the details finalized. I'm so excited, but keep your eyes and ears open, Australia, because we are coming at you in November. I'm really stoked. I've never been to Australia. I got to try to surf some when I'm there. Hopefully, I think Graham will teach me surf. He said he would. Graham said he'll teach me surfing. So that's exciting stuff. But anyway, Yeah, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. If you want to support the show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. For a Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album, Lucy Dialogues, full stand-up clips not available to the public, all kinds of cool stuff, and you help me expand this show. I'm interviewing Chuck Mertz today. I want to do more interviews. I want to do more streams. If you are so able, patreon.com/Ron Placone. Please like these videos, share, subscribe. Play all the videos in a separate window, let them play through so the ads play through. And don't just do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you know and love. It helps sustain our channel. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being the best EPs in the business. Yeah, the best EPs in the business. You know what I mean by that? You guys give me the stories, and that's what we talk about. New York outlawed cat declawing. That's a good thing. Hopefully all the other states follow suit. Bernie, the union reached a settlement. That's what unions are supposed to do. Well, Bernie's campaign is doing that, making sure everyone gets a decent living wage. Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, they're trying to make sure people don't get paid by having unpaid fellowships. Man, I bet the media is going to talk about that a bunch. Nope, they're not. Anyway, guys, we're going to sign off. We're going to be back at 11:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern time with Chuck Mertz of This Is Hell. I hope to see some of you at that interview. For those that can make it, I'll see you then. For those that can't, I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel for Get Your News On with Ron. In the meantime, Lucy says meow. I say peace. And Lucy says meow with all of her claws, by the way. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.